About Lionel Messi, because we are just around the corner from the transfer window reopening. We have just heard from Lionel Messi in his latest interview. Didn't give too much away, but would Pochettino coming in at PSG make it an attractive option for him if he is to leave Barcelona?
I think he makes it a more attractive proposition for Messi. You know, one of the Spanish newspapers this morning, the Barcelona newspapers, said that Pochettino could be a key asset in bringing Messi to Paris. What we know is that Leonardo and PSG will certainly try to get him. It won't happen in January, of course not, but in the summer when he'll be a free agent. He said in that interview tonight on La Sexta that he hasn't decided yet if he wanted to stay or to leave. So it's very much 50-50. The door is very much still open for a departure. He could well decide to stay in the end, especially after the elections that will happen at the end of January. And depending on who is the new president and what his team is around him, let's say if Xavi is involved, it's probably very likely that Messi would decide to stay at the club and be with Xavi being involved somehow. However, if it was someone else winning those elections, maybe Messi doesn't fancy staying at the club with them, and then he might decide to go. And then certainly PSG, I think, will be in the conversation with Manchester City and Pep Guardiola, maybe with some MLS club as well, because Messi also tonight in his interview said that one day he wants to play in MLS, and he doesn't know if that will be happening, but he certainly wants to. Very, very interesting. I think we will be talking a lot about Messi in the next 6 months and what he could do, but PSG with Pochettino is certainly more attractive than if he was still Thomas Tuchel, the manager.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, as you say, Messi can't move just yet, but he can start talking to other clubs in January. You mentioned Manchester City. As you said, that was one of the other clubs that was touted as potentially being an option for him if he is to leave Barcelona. And recently, we've seen him praise Pep Guardiola. Do you think there's anything in this?
Yeah, of course, and we know how close in a way he was to going to Man City last summer. If he'd been able to leave Barcelona on a free for very little money, we know that he had talks with Pep Guardiola last summer, that his dad had talked with Pep Guardiola last summer, that his brother had talks with Pep Guardiola last summer. So he was, you know, they were very close already. They've always been very close, and I think that not just, you know, Messi was being honest when he was asked about Pep Guardiola and that incredible relationship they had at Barcelona, the success that they had obviously in those 4 years that Pep spent with Messi at Barcelona, and of course I think if he had the opportunity one day to play again for Pep, and if everything was reunited, I think he will go for it. So I think City, if they can really afford Messi, will be there. I think other clubs will try as well, but certainly with Pep Guardiola, more than PSG with Mauricio Pochettino, Pep Guardiola would be a huge asset to try to attract Lionel Messi to your club.
Absolutely, and then also, you know, it's part of the City group, so maybe he could be a few years at Manchester City, and then maybe it could be FC if he is looking to go to MLS. Is there any clubs that you think he'd have his eye on, or any city he'd prefer to live in?
Well, I think, you know, it's already good that he mentions MLS in an interview like this and over his future. I think it would be an incredible signing, of course, for any MLS franchise. But you have to look at obviously the big names, whether that's LA Galaxy, whether it's New York, because of that link with the City group. It could be Miami as well, and David Beckham, of course, who as a young club, and you know, maybe can have a better plan or a longer plan to one day attract Lionel Messi to their club. I think it'd be very interesting to see who can position themselves to get Messi to the US. I think if you're MLS and Messi opens the door like he did tonight, I think in the next 4 to 5 years maximum, you do everything you can with whoever you can to try to get potentially the greatest player of all time to your league, which regardless of how old he is when this happened, it would be incredible for MLS and for soccer in the north of America. So I think now that he's opened the door, I think MLS should go all guns blazing to try to get Messi to whatever club they can.
You do wonder about his immediate future, though, Jules, because in this interview, he hasn't given too much away. It should come as no surprise that he did criticise Bartomeu again and everything that's gone on in recent history at Barcelona. But he also hasn't ruled out staying there and spoke about how much he loves the city, how much he loves the club, how he's been in Barcelona longer than he was in Argentina now. So what do you think is going to happen with him this summer?
I think he wants to stay. I think personally, as much as I would love him in Paris, I think deep inside he wants to stay. Of course, the only reason why, or not the only one, but the main reason why he wanted so desperately to leave last summer, and he said again tonight in that interview how sad he was, how hurt he felt, how many times he cried. It was because mostly of Bartomeu and how that club was run. I mean, I said many times on the show that Bartomeu almost killed FC Barcelona for me in all those years. I mean, his tenure was an absolute disgrace, and I think that almost drove Messi away. But I think if all the conditions are there, let's say if Joan Laporta, who was very close to Messi, or if Victor Font, who can bring Xavi with him, either of them win the elections, for example, I think he would be very tempted to stay, especially if they have a proper plan for the next few years, where they said to him, listen, this is the plan, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have a team around you that is much better than the team that he had in recent years. You're going to win the Champions League again. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And if you have that project, if you have that plan for him, there's nothing more than staying in Barcelona. Like already he's saying tonight, even if I leave, I will come back one day because this is where I want to live. This is my city, this is my club. And of course he said Barcelona is bigger than any player, and him included, but he also said that that's where he wants to go back. So I think deep inside he wants to stay, and if the project is right, he will stay. Depends as well who is the manager. I'm not sure if Ronald Koeman stays, he will want to be part of that, but let's say someone else comes in and maybe he will be more happy to stay. I think there's a lot of conditions to be there for him to stay. There's also a lot of conditions for him to leave, but deep inside, surely he wants to be at his club forever, and he wants that to be his main club. Let's not forget 20 years ago, and there was an amazing article on our website about 20 years ago when he signed for Barcelona as a 13-year-old on that restaurant napkin, and that story is incredible, and I'm sure that he would want to stay in that club only for the rest of his career now.
Yeah, obviously where his heart is. Well, no doubt this will be one of the topics on the Gab and Jules excellent podcast. That and all the biggest topics every Monday and Thursday. Make sure you join them tomorrow. Don Hutchison will be with them.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.